This episode of Fantastic People is sponsored by Kinetic Realty Services, LLC. Kinetic Realty Services exists to help you find home. Their agents understand home is more than an address. Home is where life happens. It's a place where we experience joy and pain. It's a place where we make memories and build community. Their agents see more than a transaction or a file number. They see the person or family that home represents. Kinetic Realty Services executive sales agents manage the home buying or selling process with care. Kinetic Realty Services strives to provide timely communication, technical excellence, and tailored information for each customer and each home, making sure that from search to close, your home transaction is joyful and professional. Start your home buying or selling process today at kineticrs.com/info. Again, that's kineticrs.com/info. Kinetic Realty Services, helping real estate investors find success and helping individuals and families find home. And make sure you let them know that Fantastic People sent you.
Welcome back to Fantastic People. I'm your host, Christian.
And I'm Reagan. And today with us here is a very special guest from Pensacola, Florida, currently living in Lynchburg, Virginia, where she recently graduated with her bachelor's in biomedical science from Liberty University. Here to talk with us today is Molly French. Molly, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Doing well. Another day. It just got cold, so that's exciting for today. For now in Florida.
What's cold though down there?
Cold, well, 50.
Yeah, 55.
Okay,
low of 48.
Yeah, that is pretty cold.
Yeah, it's chilly for here. After living in Alaska, I don't wear a jacket if it's above 40 degrees.
I bet.
This is golfing weather.
Yeah. I'm thinking about going to my backyard and starting a fire when we get finished up here.
Oh, it's definitely not that cold. You're gonna be miserable. No. It's gonna be so hot sitting by a fire.
But I want to so bad. Yeah. So we'll see.
Soon. Maybe. But cold is a good transition here.
It is.
Talking about, because it's appropriate, because we're talking about the reason for the season, the jolly festivities. The halls are being decked. It's Christmas time. Molly, you have a love for Christmas. Can you tell us about it, where it came from, your enjoyment for the season, what it is that draws you in?
Yeah. I mean, I've been a fan of Christmas all my life, so I don't think that there is a exact point in time where I decided that I was going to be a fan of Christmas. It was just something that I always really enjoyed. Whether it was the lights, the songs. I know the Mariah Carey, that one song is overplayed, and I will give people that. But just all the Christmas songs, and I don't know, it always seemed like such a happy time of year where just everybody seemed to be cheerful, and the cozy hot cocoa and the sweaters and baking cookies and all the traditions. It seemed like a season apart from real life, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. I think the tradition is like a really important part of it. I think a lot of our draw and appreciation on both a personal level and maybe on like a big scale is tradition. There's so many things that we just love to do. Like, for example, I'm more of a Thanksgiving guy than a Christmas guy personally, but on Thanksgiving every year, we have dinner with my family and my in-laws. And then on Friday, we decorate our house for Christmas. Like, that's what we do every year, my wife and I. And I look forward to it. It's the tradition, the something to do together as a family, I think is really where the magic is in the holiday season.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think myself included, because when you're a kid, you don't think about it. You don't know what the traditions are. Man. Well, it's the gifts, but you're experiencing it a lot of the time, first time, second time, third time ever. and it's just hanging out with family. It's nothing new. It's just normal.
Mhm.
But as you get older, to me, it's looking back on all of those fond memories with my cousins and my family and my grandparents, and the different things that we did. And so now, while it's not about the gifts, it's about the time. It's about looking back and those,
Mhm.
peaceful, fun, jolly moments are what bring me that holiday joy. And it's funny because, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit, but as you get older, your families sort of branch off. You have your own family unit, and you don't do a lot of the things you did when you were a kid because now you have your own family. And so those traditions that you are establishing with your own family, you're also, to me, I feel like I'm missing out on those things. My family does not get together in the same way, but just thinking about those things during holidays is always uh, a joyful thing.
Yeah. Are there any things that maybe come to mind, Molly? Like if you had to pick, uh, a mass tradition, something that kind of a lot of people. I realize there's a lot of variance in how we celebrate Christmas and stuff, but maybe something that
Mm.
generally everyone kind of does that you're really attracted to or drawn to, whether it be, I don't know, gingerbread houses or decorating a Christmas tree or what is there like a symbol or something that you just really think embodies the Christmas season?
I would say definitely um, decorating the Christmas tree as a family.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I like that one.
it's it's kind of, I mean, it's cheesy because it's a tradition that many people do all together. Um, but I think that's like the image that even commercials um, make their
Hmm.
center point during the holidays. It's always that scene of everybody around the Christmas tree, putting on their ornaments, decorating it, talking. And I think that in a way, as grand as Christmas trees can be, just that image of a family coming together and just putting something as simple as an ornament on a tree.
Hmm.
It kind of breaks through some of the grandiosity of the season and just the loudness of the season, and really just centers on more of just the simplicity of being together, um, and just being reminded of kind of just like the togetherness of Christmas. It doesn't have to necessarily be something
Yeah.
extravagant that you're doing. I mean, you're hanging something on a branch, and yet that brings such joy to
Right.
everybody
Right.
when it's done together. And that alone, I think, just embodies like the true Christmas spirit um, of just having the gift of being together in the
Mhm.
presence of
So,
each other.
yeah. Does your family do like mostly um, ornaments that match and they're colorful and they're bulbs and they're fancy, or is it mostly, hand printed, craft made things from Sunday school when you were a kid?
Hmm. Yeah, so my mom, she loves to decorate. So she does most of the decorating when it comes to our house. And
Mhm.
I've been able to help her get out the ornaments, and she's told me some of the backstories behind our ornaments. So we do have
Oh,
a
wow.
tree at our house that is very just matching. There's nothing nostalgic about any of the ornaments. It's really
Mhm.
just for looks, right? But then we
Right.
have another tree that is in the house that has ornaments from her and my dad's marriage, their first year of marriage, or
Oh, wow.
my
That's
first
cool.
baby ornament. So we have ornaments that go, back way back into our family line, and just different monumental moments of all five of us. There's
Mhm.
five in my family. Different parts of our lives that she's saved over the years, and so we have that tree that's very much nostalgic and sentimental, I guess is the better word. So, and that one's my favorite, truthfully. I'm all for I think the glam and the bright reds and the bright greens and the sparkles are beautiful, but um, sometimes it just feels a little loud to me personally, and I'm always going
Mhm.
to opt for the more sentimental, um, maybe not as put together looking tree that that each ornament tells a story.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the personal tree rather than the glamour tree.
Hmm.
My wife and I, we don't have this debate every year, but I sometimes feel like we should get a second tree so she can decorate it however she wants. And then there's this other
Yeah, yeah.
tree that we buy ornaments like together as a family every year. Where like we buy
Hmm.
everyone buys one ornament, and it's whatever you want. So it could be a pickle next to a slice of pizza, next to
Mhm. Mhm.
C3PO, next
Yep.
to Dumbledore. Like
Yep.
it doesn't make
Amazing.
any sense, but there's
Right.
just all things we like
Right.
and things we do together, or um, and that means more to me than I think a
Yeah,
elaborate, grandiose tree would.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Reagan
No.
has like
That's so
5
funny
Christmas
because
trees.
just those
Ooh,
ornaments
yeah.
alone remind me of like my family because I love pickles. My sister loves Star Wars. You know, who doesn't like pizza?
That's awesome.
So that's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Right. Well, and we, yeah, Christian just said that I have 5 Christmas trees. I don't think it's 5. We got rid of 2. So we just moved and I pulled out of the attic, I think 3 or 4 Christmas trees. And we had one delivered to the new house. And there was one that we threw away at the old house. So I think we just have 3 right now. One is already up, not decorated. It's the new one, of course. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you, Molly. Like, I love I'm very, I love things to be symmetrical. So I love the tree that's like immaculately decorated perfectly. You go into department stores or you go places where it's like, wow, that's a very red and gold tree and that looks
Mhm.
amazing, right? I would love to have that in my
Hmm.
house. I am not as patient to make it symmetrical.
If I could pull it out of the bag like that, it'd be
Yeah,
great.
I would love to
Yeah,
do that. I start out doing that and then I'm like,
get
oh, you can't
Amazon
really see that
delivered
spot
to
in the
you.
back.
Yeah.
Right. So we definitely have those. And we have the short ones and the tall ones and the one for this room and the one for the main room. Um, but
Yeah,
no, you're right. It's the memory tree that makes decorating the tree so special. Like there's nothing special about putting gold and red ornaments in symmetry on a tree. Like it doesn't mean anything. But to your point,
I'm with you.
my mother, when we were kids, she started this tradition. I don't even know. I think when we were babies, and she just went and did it herself. We go to Hallmark every year, and we pick out an ornament for that year to put on the tree. And it's everything from sports figures to race cars to Yoda to Lord of the Rings. I mean, we went through all of the different phases, and I think now again the symmetry. Like I started sticking with Star Wars because that's my favorite. Um, she's got Gone with the Wind, like, and she tries to get the Gone with the Wind one for that year every single
Mhm.
year, and it's just this
Hmm.
hodgepodge of very heavy, ornate Hallmark ornaments, and that's what most of my mom's tree is filled with now. Like
Mm.
the little craft made stuff, like it makes it up there, but now we're in our 30s. Like there's enough Hallmark ornaments to cover multiple
That's
trees, and
amazing.
actually this year, I think last year, I mean, she gave me the box of my ornaments.
Wow.
So we no longer decorate them because we'd go over to mom and dad's
Yeah.
afterward. After we decorated our tree at some point in the holiday and we'd help them and we'd put our ornaments up. But now we have them in our house. So, and we still continue that. We still go to Hallmark and she still wants to go with us and buy it for our Christmas gift for that year. So,
Well, it just goes back to the tradition,
yeah.
of it all. And one thing that like my church group does is instead of Christmas presents, we buy ornaments for people.
Oh, cool.
And every year as a gag gift, where there is, I don't even know when this started, probably 15 years ago. Someone bought, and no lie, this thing is probably 10 inches tall, an acorn. It's just a giant acorn that people put on their tree. And so every year it's like a gag gift. If you get it, you got to give it to somebody else the next year. And so it's been signed. And so now there's, 20
wow.
names on this acorn as it's been passed around year after year.
That's
And,
amazing.
I just want the acorn. Like you could get me, Clark Kent or whatever, but the acorn is the thing that means the most to me because it does have all these years of tradition
Yeah.
put into it.
And that passes through the church?
Through like the adults,
The families.
parent ministry.
Oh, okay.
Thing, yeah.
But still, that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's
At the
really cool.
time, we did not have a young adults ministry, so it was like me at 19 hanging out with like a bunch of 35-year-olds with children. So, but the tradition lives on. So,
Oh, now it has to. That's cool.
So, Molly, can you describe to me maybe the emotions that come with the holiday season? Because I think it's something that connects with everyone. Like whether you celebrate Christmas or not, there are these emotions that are just the season and the decorations and the traditions that evokes out of everyone. And I don't know if maybe you could take some time and talk about those things.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a kid, and even as a kid, for the most part, you look at the lights and the smiles and the cheer and the laughing and all the fancy gift wrap and all those different kinds of things that comprise of our holiday season, and it just makes you happy, even just seeing families together, just enjoying each other's presence, that it's got this sense of just warmth and love. And then it's funny because, you know, as life, continues on, the holidays, and this is something that I've learned in just the past 2 years or so, is the holiday season. It's happy for many, but it's also really hard for many,
Right.
and
Right.
and I don't know, maybe you guys notice it, but I don't really think that part's really addressed as much.
Mhm.
All the lights and the festivities, they can remind a person of something that they once had and now they don't for
Mhm.
some reason. The families that are together laughing, while
Mhm.
it's so warming to the heart, it can also break the heart because
Mhm.
it can symbolize something that somebody is currently losing or has lost already, or that phase of life is just it that chapter got closed for that person for some reason.
Mhm.
And so, for my own personal sake, I still kind of have this like love-hate relationship with all the holiday festivities. Whereas just a few years ago, I would have said that I love them all, and how could you be
Mhm.
sad on Christmas, and all this kind of stuff. And as you continue to understand and hear people's stories, and um, you start to see that the holidays can really just be a magnifier, um, that just kind of like focuses on all the things that that you don't have throughout the year, but it really just emphasizes it during the holidays. So you know there's a lot of emotions
Mhm.
that the season brings, you know joy and sadness, and the love and the warmth of being together, and then also you know there's families who, military families, not being
Mhm.
together, and it being more difficult, so um it's it's very encompassing of all the human emotions possible in 2 months. um but yeah.
Well, and it sounds like having that new perspective, um, which is great. I think you're right. I mean, it's important to acknowledge that and also be sensitive to that. Be sensitive to those people around you that might not be having the best time during that time of the year or this time of the year, and have open arms and love them and encourage them and be some sense of light for them, and not be insensitive to what they might be going through. But how do you or have do you do things differently during the holidays now because of um, because of those around you, or for yourself, or anyone to be able to like you still love, obviously you still love the holidays and you still love
Hmm.
Christmas with that perspective in mind, but has that changed how you interact with other people, in a positive way or negative way this time of the year?
Yeah, it definitely has. I would say before my new perspective, I probably was a little bit more of that insensitive person that
Mm,
was just annoyingly excited and happy about the holiday season, and just not understanding how someone could really be that sad during the year. Um, and now I've realized that kindness to all goes a long way during
mm,
these 2 months. Um, yeah, it you don't have to force your happiness on someone. You don't have to be a Grinch about the season either. But we all can choose to be kind during this time of year, um, because a lot of people are under you know a lot of stress during this time. Um, whether that be like financial pressures, just the pressure of having to get everybody gifts, and or your work schedule.
mhm,
Sometimes things pick up more during this time of year. So, just um, for people who don't see their family as often, um, there's just a lot of different scenarios um, that that are part of people's lives that we never know about. I could be standing in line at Target, and you know, the lady in front of me could be going through whatever it is, the day before Christmas. Um, and it doesn't cost me much to just make sure that I'm kind to her, whether that be, smiling. Smiles kind of go a long way. I
mhm.
know with the mask these days, it's hard to tell if somebody's smiling,
Yeah.
but if you just squint your eyes just a little bit, I think that they kind of get the idea that you're you're just trying to send a smile their way or show grace to people um, in line when you're trying to return gifts or trying to get
Mhm,
gifts. And I'm a Christian, so I come from a Christian worldview. So just just being reminded of the true season, the true
mhm,
season's reason, which
mhm,
is the incarnation of Jesus Christ. That is the most beautiful reason to celebrate, and it's also the most beautiful reason to be generous during this time of year and to be gracious as well. Um, because there I have a Lord who has been so gracious and merciful to me by coming down and taking on flesh to die a death that to die a death for people who called for his death, just so that they could have the opportunity to to be redeemed and to have salvation. And so in this equation, I've done absolutely nothing to earn this whatsoever. It was only by the grace of God that salvation is even an option. I wouldn't say option, but it's even a gift, you
mhm,
know. And so just remembering that, and trying to remember to just be extend that graciousness and that humility and that mercy towards other people, especially in a time where or during the season when, like I said, everybody's a little charged, whether that be on the positive side or the
Yeah,
negative side.
yeah, right.
Um, it really, the gospel really grounds a person during this time of year, or at least it grounds me. So,
I think, one thing that you hit on that I think is just really, really important, and this word gets thrown around a lot, but um, I think it's applicable here, is understanding that even with something as simple as Christmas or the holiday season, that you can have a privilege or have privilege with it, meaning that your Christmas is always nothing but joyful and happy, but that's not the reality for a lot of people, and it may not be the reality for the majority of people. And so when someone says, hey, it's November 1st, do we have to be playing Christmas music in the office? They're probably really not just being a Grinch. They might actually have a legitimate reason why. You know what? It does
yeah.
bring up it hurts, and they're gonna have to deal with the hurt eventually. Maybe we can hold off till after Black Friday or something.
Yeah.
You talk about the military scenario. I when I was in the military, I never came home for the holidays. That's not true. The very first year I was in, I came home for the holidays. I was forced to come home for the holidays. But every other year, I stayed where I was. So literally, I remember being in my friend's apartment at 2:30 in the morning on Christmas Day, watching The Christmas Story, sitting on his couch. And at the time, I thought that was fine, and now I realize that's a terribly sad way to spend Christmas. But I couldn't sleep, and I was alone, and I had nothing else. There was no
Yeah.
getting up and opening presents with my family. There was not even really spending time with the other friends who decided to stay, because most people decided to go home, and that just wasn't a financial option for me. And
Right.
um, it reminds me a lot of making a movie reference here of in Forrest Gump. Lieutenant Dan is sitting there, and everyone's celebrating the new year, and
I was really hoping it was going to be a Christmas movie
nope,
reference.
nope. He's just sitting there like alone, and everyone's celebrating New Year's. That's how I felt. Like the world around me is celebrating Christmas, and I'm just sitting in this dude's apartment by myself. And that really puts into perspective what it means to have the ability to celebrate Christmas with my family, or to spend the time living those traditions, because I didn't get to live those traditions for several years. And before then, I would say it was a privilege. I didn't realize that there was a pain and heartache and sorrow that can come along with a season that brings happiness and joy. And the season does. I mean, I love Advent. I am not a liturgical person, but when it comes to the idea of intentionally thinking about these aspects of the coming of Jesus, to me, that's really, really important. But it was because I went through pain and heartache that I realized making time to focus on the importance of the concept of Emmanuel helped me. And helped bring joy and helped bring me out of this rut of hating this season. And so I do think it's just incredibly important, and I appreciate you bringing it up and talking about it. We normally like to talk about kind of a negative side of everything we love, and I definitely think it's very true for this, as we can kind of be a little headstrong about how much we love Christmas, and we don't get why other people do not as well.
Yeah. I love what you bringing that up, um, about just the understanding of the season of Advent and just Emmanuel, um, dwelling on what that means as a believer, and how, that can just reshape your view of this season.
Hmm.
Um, and what was what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. Um, but yeah, it's very easy to just make that connection. I like that example that you gave. If somebody doesn't want to play Christmas music, just assuming that they're a Grinch about it, and not thinking maybe there's a little bit more to it. Um, Especially as a believer. we're instructed so many times to count others more significant than ourselves. And that's what it says in Philippians 2:3, and it has that same theme and many other passages. And while it's talking about it's talking about specific things in each book, I think that this can be just a very simple example of just laying aside our selfish wants, or just things that are very inward focusing, and just tending to the needs of others, and just being mindful of just the opportunities that we can have to share this gospel with others, if we can just be so humble enough to say, okay, yeah, like, we won't play the Christmas music, and
Hmm.
that could catch somebody off guard, because I know in the past when somebody's told me that, I'm like, oh, come on, you're being a Grinch. Like, how do you not love Christmas music? And I was joking in a way, but that's typically what people who don't, if we're going to go with this example, who don't want Christmas music, that's kind of the response that they typically get. Um,
Yeah.
and they play along with it, but somewhere deep down, they probably really don't want it. So I think just being gracious in that aspect of responding in such a Christ-like way of just counting them more significant than yourself, that could just be kind of a conversation starter where they kind of perk up, and they realize, well, that's a little different. I wasn't expecting you to be so compliant, and
For sure.
it's a beautiful way to apply scripture, and make the most out of each of our conversations with others, um, as Colossians talks about. So
I mean, I think the challenge I would issue to people is that, or to Christians specifically, especially
mhm.
ones that hold such esteem and value on the Christmas season, is that, number one, Christmas music doesn't make the Christmas season. Your Christmas tree, your Christmas decorations, your Christmas movies don't make
Mhm.
the Christmas season.
Right.
Right,
It doesn't matter what Starbucks cup looks like. That's not the point.
right.
The point is that you have a job to do, and that souls are more important than any of that. And so, how do we best love our neighbor, and how do we best live up to the heart and soul of the Christmas season, which is simply to love? I think so. Again, you spoke beautifully about the concept of Jesus coming here, and then the sacrifice that he paid, and what's the best way for us to honor that, and that is to humbly love the person
Mhm.
next to us.
Yeah,
And if that means I don't get to listen to Run Run Reindeer, or whatever the name of that song,
Run,
Little Saint
Rudolph.
Nick, if that means I don't get to listen
Run,
to
Rudolph. Yeah.
Little Saint Nick, then so be it.
yeah,
If that's the best way for me to love my neighbor, if that means not writing a angry status on Facebook about
Right.
someone saying happy holidays, then that's the best way to do it. Like, I have to do my part to love that person. And again, I think that's truly what the nature of Christmas is how can we talk about the tradition. It's
Mm.
spending time with our families, how we show love to them, the presence we have in our workspaces or with our friends. All of it really boils down to the joy of Christmas is the joy we experience loving and being loved by someone.
and I would go
Yeah.
I would go a step further in that and say, yes, the season is a season of love. Um, but I would say, practically speaking, to love as Christians, I think the other word that would encompass how to approach the season would be servanthood and sacrifice.
Mm.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
Yeah.
and that maybe that is the practical application of love, but I think that when we look at the Christmas story, that's what a lot of churches reference it as. When we look at that, we see a holy God who, in all of his majesty, decided to come, and take on flesh. Actually, in Philippians 2, he talks about that he was in the form of God, and he did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself by taking the form of a servant. So there is that servanthood, and being
Yeah.
born in the likeness of men and being found in human form, he humbled himself. So there's the servanthood again, by becoming obedient. And so that's going back to our job as believers, is serving others by serving God. And how do we serve God? We become obedient to the scriptures, and we obey God. And Christ is the perfect example of that, because he obeyed the Father to the point of death, and not just some normal, usual type of death, but a death on a cross, which was, I mean, it still is one of the worst forms of death. And so it's just this beautiful. I think the gospel just cracks through all of the the lights and the dazzling, all that kind of stuff. With one of my favorite songs is Silent Night. And this is why, because amongst all of that, people can get down about all that, all the cheer, all that, extra fluff. You can find that stuff quite annoying. But I think that when you truly understand the gospel, you can never find a God so holy who took the form of a servant and humbled himself to restore the relationship between God and mankind if they repent and believe. I can never look at that and be annoyed. It always leads me to just gratefulness. And so, just dwelling on the real meaning, I know it's so cheesy, the reason for the season, but truly just like taking the whole month to continue to understand and wrap your mind around such a beautiful gift. I think that is a starting point of approaching the season with love. And in love, we are servants, and we take on the humility, and we continue to remain disciplined and obedient to God, so that we can tell souls about the gospel. So, like what you said.
Yeah, and I think that that's what gives Christmas the purpose, right? And
Right.
I mean, would you say that's what keeps you coming back, even despite all the ups and
100%.
downs? That's what keeps you coming back. And I think that you're
100%.
totally right. If it's so easy to get caught up in, like we said earlier, traditions for
Mm-hmm.
tradition's sake, it's easy to get caught up in joy for, oh, it's just the joyful season, or love, it's just the giving season. We give gifts, it's the giving season. That's an empty holiday if it doesn't have purpose, right?
Right.
And the purpose is the gospel, and to celebrate the gospel. Without it,
100%.
it's empty. I mean, and truthfully, I've experienced that empty feeling at Christmas because I was focused on the wrong things that year.
Yeah.
Um,
Didn't
because
get that in 64.
no, I didn't get that at Christmas. I'm about that my own money, but yeah, no, that's you hit the nail on the head with that. And I think a couple, kind of transitioning a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say one thing to your point.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think this is somewhat a controversial statement here.
Okay.
The commercialization of Christmas is not what makes Christmas so popular. It is the grace and purpose of Christmas, which has intensified the commercialization. What I mean by that is the story and the power of Christmas is enough to, like, it's an evidence that the gospel is a powerful tool.
Yep.
It's not the commercialization or Santa Claus and Christmas trees that drive all of this. It's the story of Jesus, and that stuff's just latched onto the side.
Yeah.
And we look at it the reverse.
The wrong
We
way.
say, all this stuff is tainting or ruining. And I'm not saying that's not a fair critique. I'm saying you got to understand, I don't believe that's what's driving the point. It's the
Oh,
Jesus that's
absolutely.
driving the point. Whether we recognize that or
Everything else
not,
just latches on to that.
everything
It
else
takes
is,
advantage of it.
it's that sucker fish on a whale. Like
Yeah.
it just, that's, we're focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, and if without that, you lose the purpose behind it, and I think all that other stuff would go away if there wasn't that driving force behind it. If it was joy for joy's sake and gifts for gifts' sake, the bitterness would creep in, the stress of the
Well,
season.
it does anyway. But
it does, but it would overtake,
Yeah.
and it would ruin, and eventually it would go away.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be a happy thing.
it would be found wanting, and we would not want to continue.
We wouldn't want to do it. Yeah.
The purpose for the celebration would completely cease.
Right. So, sort of shifting gears, like totally. There's no easy way to transition out of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Into what I want to say. I'm not as talented at segues as I wish I was, but I did want to hit before we close, because I think we've really touched on a lot of things, but I do want to hit, and I want us to all do it. Just kind of like fast favorites is what I'm calling this.
Okay, down.
So
lightning round.
Molly will go first, and then Christian, and then myself. Favorite Christmas memory?
I would say my favorite Christmas memory. Most Christmases we spend just with my immediate family. But there's this one specific Christmas, if I'm recalling right. We spent it in Georgia with our extended family, and it was when I was younger. And the house was full. My dad played a prank on me and my cousin when we were younger. It was just a whole load of fun, and just being together with a huge family. Wild and calm, all of it.
That's awesome.
I think that's like a memory that really sticks out to me.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right after I got married, this story is a little bit of a preference in that when my wife and I were registering for gifts, someone told me, register for whatever you want. They're like, don't let your wife just pick out what you're registering. If you want something, you pick out. So
I registered for a PlayStation 4.
I put an Xbox One on there, and I got it. And so we got married in October. I got this Xbox One, so I had an Xbox 360, and I was like, I'm going to give this to my little brother. My little brother's 15 years younger than I am. So he was like 10 at the time. And so packaged it up. I drove up to Atlanta. I gave it to my dad, and it's like, don't, tell him it's from me or whatever. Just let him open it. Let's just record it. I want to see the joy in his face. And so my brother opens it up, doesn't know what it is, turns the box upside down. The 360 just falls out onto the ground.
No.
It survived.
Okay.
But he goes, an Xbox 360. Wowee. And Kate and I mean, we must say it daily. Wowee, an Xbox 360.
That's awesome.
It stuck with me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would say I've got a lot, but one of my favorites is definitely at Grandma's house, and she's gone now. But it was always everybody. I mean, everybody. My dad's one of 7. All the family, cousins. Every kid had at least every sibling had at least 2 or 3 kids, and so lots of cousins, and just always had such a blast. But one of my older cousins had a child at a very, very young age, and so my aunt took care of him a lot. And there was one year where I'll never forget it. My dad always did the Christmas story. He always read scripture, like we would do carols and stuff. But there was one year where I decided, hey, I want to start doing that. I want to start, sort of reading the story and give like a little devotional. And when my cousin was, I think he was like 8 or 9 years old, he came to me and he said, hey, I want to read the Christmas story, and I want to do that with you. And we did it. We did it together, and it was a big moment because he went through a lot of hard things in his life, and a lot of praying for him and just his life in general. But to see him come to me and want to be a part of that was so special. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Y'all's is much sweeter than mine. Mine's just making fun of my younger brother.
I mean, wowee, that's still
who says wowee?
Okay, favorite gift. Favorite gift of all time that you've gotten.
Ooh. It's funny because when you're put on the spot, it's like anything you could ever remember, blank.
Yeah, it all goes away.
Hmm.
I cheated. I was typing out my answers while we were talking earlier.
Oh, let's see.
I got mine, Molly. If you want to keep thinking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Lead the way.
So this isn't my favorite gift. I'm going to preface, but it's a pertinent gift and it's a timely gift.
Okay.
Last year for Christmas, my wife got me tickets to see my favorite musician, Jason Isbell.
Oh man.
I am still waiting to go to that concert because it has been canceled by
No.
COVID 3 times.
Oh man.
So next summer, 2.5 years later,
Maybe.
or a year and a half later, maybe I will finally get my Christmas gift.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Wow.
it's the gift.
It's
that
so
keeps on giving.
it's the gift that keeps. It's like the jelly of the month club.
Yeah.
It just keeps on giving.
Hmm. Those
She
are
could give it.
honestly
She could just put those tickets in a box and give them
Yeah,
to you
she
again this
could.
year.
the regift or regift. Yeah, those are the best types of gifts. The ones where it creates an experience, you know,
Mhm.
rather than just like a tangible object. I'm always a big fan of the experiences. Let's see. I don't know if this was my favorite gift, but I mean, this is probably one of the most recent gifts that I got a while back. Well, I say recent. Probably my iPad.
Okay.
I know that
It's a
I
good
know
one.
there's nothing really special about it, but as sentimental as I can be, I have this like huge practicality streak in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have used it like every day for like so many different things. To create my hobbies, to work on things that I
Yeah, I
need to
respect
do
that.
for work. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I really like that gift. I know it's
Cool.
not like anything, there's not a cool story behind it, but
Yeah, that's fine. I would say I'm going to change my answer from what I wrote down. So reach out to me on Twitter or reach out to Fantastic People on Facebook if you want to know the other answer. But I actually shared this on a previous episode. It was at grandma's. It was a Christmas. Grandma never knew what to get the kids, so she'd always give her kids money, and then they'd go shopping and they'd buy the thing, and then they'd tell her about it, and then they would wrap it. But one year, my dad thought it'd be really funny, and he gave us we had this gift, both me and my brother, biggest gift under the tree. I mean, it was like the size of a Christmas tree box, and I know that size very well. It was huge, and so we were just like so ecstatic and pumped. We're like, we got this awesome huge gift. We got the gift that's better than any other cousin's gifts from grandma. Grandma loves us the most. We opened them. Everybody had to hold, and we unwrap it once, and it's just a box. And we're like, okay. So we opened the box, and it's just a box, and like every single one was wrapped, and so everybody had their gift unwrapped, and they're playing with it, and me and my brother are just standing, just scrambling constantly. Dad's laughing like crazy because he's the one that did it.
that's amazing.
We kept going down and down and down and down and down until we got to this very, very small box, and it was a Game Boy Pocket. The
Oh, wow.
smallest gift that anybody got in the largest package, and arguably still the biggest gift.
Yeah.
Because it was a gaming system that changed my life and set me on a path of loving games. So I would say that's my favorite just because of the memory. I will never forget opening that gift. We still have pictures and video of doing that. All right.
Can I change my answer really fast?
Sure. Totally.
That made me think of something. So I got a ukulele
Cool.
for Christmas one year, and it was from my parents. They had brought it back from Hawaii.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I really loved music. Music's always been like part of my life. And so that just kind of like was another contributor to my love for instruments and playing music. And yeah, it was a really cool gift.
All
I have
right.
it
These
hanging
next
on my
one.
wall right now.
That's awesome. Do you play it or you don't want to break it?
I went through a phase where I did not want to break it. because it was a little bit more of a pricier one. But now I play it.
Cool.
It's meant to be played.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good as an instrument if you don't play it. Okay, these will be quick, I'm sure, unless we want to elaborate. Favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, Elf. I know
Elf's
that's
a
such
good answer.
basic answer, but it's just
It's all right.
Mine's also a basic
Yeah.
answer. Mine's Christmas Vacation.
I knew that was coming. So yeah, I'm going to use two answers. First answer is Elf. So I remember back in the day, Christmas buddies, woohoo. And Holiday Inn is another favorite.
I prefer the remake, White Christmas.
You prefer the remade, the colored White Christmas.
It's the same movie, even with some same
it's
cast.
Not. It's the same. It's not the same cast actually.
Bing's in both.
It's well, okay, and White Christmas is in both.
Yeah.
No,
What
but
do you
real
guys
quick
think
on that,
about
I'm just going to
Home
tell
Alone?
another cool tradition. Oh, that's a good answer too. That's a great one. My wife can't stand those movies, but that's not her type of humor.
What?
But I would say Home Alone 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, don't count 3.
They're in my top 5, probably.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, those are good movies. But no, we watch a Thanksgiving tradition that transitions us into Christmas. Usually on Christmas or Thanksgiving night after dinner, after everyone, we kind of all change into our pajamas and we watch Holiday Inn and White Christmas if we can stay up to watch both back to back. No matter where we are. I mean, anytime we've gone out of town for Thanksgiving, we're like we force everybody else into our tradition to make sure we watch those movies. So
Kate prefers Holiday Inn. I prefer White Christmas.
Yeah. They're both good. I mean, we watch both, but I just like Holiday Inn better. Favorite Christmas song?
I know this. Easy answer. Mine is "Oh Holy Night" because chain shall he break, the slave is our brother. That's the gospel. You ain't got to tell me anything else right there. That's it. Okay. That line brings me to tears every time. And it's, that it goes up into a minor chord right there. And it's just this big, powerful moment in the song. And I love it.
Josh Groban or Celine Dion?
Probably like David Phelps, bro.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Wow.
I'm down with that. David Phelps.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really goes for it.
He goes for it in every song.
That's true. Molly?
Probably Silent Night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Good answer. I just like the calming, I don't know, effect, I guess, that it has in the midst of all the craziness of the holidays. And like you said, I mean, the song that you said was your favorite, that is definitely the gospel 100%. And I would say that the lyrics to Silent Night are also very gospel centered as well. So it's a good reminder, a good grounding song in the midst of all the holidays.
Cool. I am going to go way less spiritual than you guys did on this one. White Christmas, actually, by Bing Crosby. To me, I mean, I don't know if part of it is that because it's not just like the ones I used to know, because I've never known a White Christmas, but the part of the song that's I'm dreaming of a White Christmas, like as a Southern Florida boy, like hardly ever seen snow. Like that to me,
the concept alone.
When you look at decorations and you look at the marketing, it's always like snowy. And I'm like, I would love to spend a Christmas somewhere where it's snowy. So,
I 100% relate to that, being also a Floridian most of my life. Just the idea of like a white Christmas was just everything that I ever wanted. And then I'd wake up on Christmas morning and be like 87 degrees outside.
Yep.
It was like the most depressing thing ever.
Yep. Mostly experiencing hot Christmases more than cool Christmases, and singing White Christmas to the top of my lungs.
It's a really special
come
thing.
Up to Virginia.
Yeah.
You get some White Christmases up here.
Yeah.
I had
and
a
I'll
couple
say
myself.
that they live up to everything.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It makes the snow worth it.
Okay. Last one, and favorite Christmas decoration.
Are we saying for like specifically our tree, or are we saying just across the board?
Just like in general, that speaks Christmas. You can't have a Christmas decorations without this type of decoration?
Hmm.
So for mine's really personal because I have an old record player. It's lime green, and I put garland and lights on it every year.
Okay.
And you talk about like and white Christmas. If I were to take a less spiritual route, mine's the Christmas song by Nat King Cole. And
Okay.
so I put that record on, listen to Nat King Cole sing Christmas music, drink caramel apple spice, look at my record player where it's got its garland and its lights on it. That's Christmas for me. Like that moment, I look
Okay.
at that. That's a visual representation of Christmas.
Okay.
Hmm.
Molly.
Yeah. I would say so. There's a tradition, and I don't know very many people who do it in Florida, but it's something that I've come across in the past 4 years. But it's this tradition of putting like one single candle in each one of your windowsills. And so when you drive
Mm.
by a
Yep.
house, sometimes instead of doing lights, they just have candles in front, like just one candle in front of each window.
That's cool.
Um, and apparently
It's a very
it's a
Hallmark
really,
movie
really,
about that.
really old tradition. And I've seen it a lot up north. But I don't know. I'm sure you guys can kind of catch on by now, but I really love like the simplicity of like almost everything. The simpler, the better, kind of is how I roll. So just like just just the single candle in the windowsills with maybe like some garland or something that lines it. I think is definitely my favorite.
That's
Yeah.
cool. There's a
Yeah.
Christmas movie. I don't know if it's Hallmark or if it's one of those weird Christian streaming things. But it's they're all cheesy.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's about candles. I'm pretty sure it's like a
Hmm.
candle maker, and it's about yeah. I'll have to look it up and I'll message it to you. It's a pretty good movie for
Okay.
Christmas cheesy Christmas Hallmark movies.
Yeah, they're
Um,
all cheesy.
it might have been Netflix. Anyway, mine, I would say the lights, the Christmas lights.
Mm,
And not just like I mean, I love to look at other people's lights, and there are some where it's like, wow, Christmas really threw up on that yard.
yeah.
I do kind of go for the more simple, again, symmetrical, like clean, crisp
Hmm.
look. But
I'm with you on that one.
I love like putting the lights up. That's a
Mm.
big tradition for me. That I really started probably only 10 years ago. My parents like just weren't doing it anymore. And I was like, you got to put the light. We used to drive around and like look at other people's lights. So I got up on the roof and I started doing it. And that's one thing I look forward to doing every year. I mean, Thanksgiving's over. We watch Holiday Inn, White Christmas, go to bed, wake up. I'm putting Christmas lights on the house.
That's
It's
awesome. Are
it's
you
like
a colored light guy or are you just a white light guy?
so that's a great question. I am a colored light guy. My wife is not.
Uh,
And
If
so
she ain't
I'm
getting
with
up there, she don't get a vote.
that's
I'm
true,
with
but
I'm with Chelsea on this one.
that's true. But she does, I mean, I'll be honest. They look clean, they look crisp,
Yeah.
they look professional. If you do them right, they look good. But I look for other ways to include color. Or one year we bought, and I didn't buy enough, so we haven't used them. But I bought they were changing, and
Mm,
this is like a
mm,
second year of marriage. Like, look, we are one year we'll do white, and the next year we'll do color. I'll just click the button and they'll be colored. But they were like
Compromise.
that really crappy
yeah,
LED
yeah, yeah.
colored that I
Mm,
just don't like
Hmm.
because those don't look good. You got the old traditional
You
color.
got a big old bowl.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's the lights.
Yeah.
I like it.
Uh, well, Molly, we appreciate you hanging out, chatting with us.
Yeah, thanks for
Um,
having me.
Yeah.
is there anything do you want to tell people where they find you on social media if they want to chat, or you just want to say goodbye? It's your choice too. It's whatever. It's a free
Whatever.
country.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I post a lot of stories on my Instagram that I just I love researching things. I love sharing things with people, just information and you know the things I love, the things I don't, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can find me on Instagram. Um, I'm not going to be delivering any like super sick posts, but
What?
yeah,
Hashtag reels.
but I have stories, and I love sharing. I just love when people share things, share their resources, and help each other grow. So if that's it, I'm pulling it up right now to see what it is. It's underscore Molly French, FRENCH, and MOLLY. Yeah, not
Awesome.
the IV. Yeah.
Well,
But
it has been a joy talking Christmas with you
It has.
today.
Oh.
aw, you guys too.
Thank you for listening to Fantastic People. Please rate and subscribe wherever you find your podcast, and follow us on social media. That's at Fantastic People Pod on Facebook, at Fantastic_People Pod on Instagram, and at Fantastic People, no E, on Twitter. We'd like to say thank you to Alex Edmondson for our artwork and Charlie Hadley for our intro music. We hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.